All right, everybody, on this video, we are going to be talking about how to properly price your property. Sam's going to be walking you through the Airbnb sections on your listing, on how we set up our pricings, how we go through the discounts throughout the week, and all those nitty-gritty details that makes our property stand out and perform as best as it can.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here and we'll just walk through. I know in the last module, we went through dynamic pricing and also how to compare yourself to other Airbnbs in the area. So you definitely want to be doing that when you're actually picking your prices. So I would go back and watch that if you haven't, but you want to be comparing your house to similar houses within Airbnb and gathering data on how they're pricing. And if you have any questions from that previous module, I'm happy to help with that. But this is going to be specifically going through Airbnb and what you can do within there and how that works with dynamic pricing as well. So here we go. I have one of our listings up. And if you've watched the videos from this module already, then you are familiar with what the Airbnb looks like. Ben went through all of the tabs here with the listing details, the info for guests, the co-hosts, and then all of the tabs up at the top. So he went through all of those already. So I'm going to specifically be focusing on pricing and availability, and then policies and rules, and just going through what those are, what to do with them, and what they can do for you, basically. So I'll start with pricing and availability. So this is basically just saying we only allow 2 nights minimums on this property. So in the policies and rules, I'll show you how to adjust that. So the minimum a guest will pay for 2 nights with cleaning fee and everything is a $775 total for this property. So let me see here. So we use dynamic pricing, which means that our pricing is being pushed in here. So our base price won't necessarily be our price, but this is an example of we charge a $30 management fee. We typically will use that to cover our super hog insurance, which is something we've taught about, but also to kind of, we'll take our cleaning fee and our management fee and, tweak those to raise ourselves or lower ourselves down in the algorithm for Airbnb. The guest service fee is just the fee that the guest is going to be charged by Airbnb. And then the taxes is the local taxes in the area. So our earnings show here, and this is the total they're going to pay. So this kind of just gives you a breakdown, and we'll go through changing each of those. So you can do smart pricing and like set a base within Airbnb. I don't love their smart pricing, and I don't always think it's the best thing to use, but if you don't want to use dynamic pricing, and it's better than having one flat rate, basically. So in this, all you would do is you turn on your smart pricing. Here, I'll do it for a second. And that way you're just setting your minimum and your maximum price. And then Airbnb is going to create a calculation of what your pricing should be here. So that's an option for you. If you aren't using like Price Labs or you only have one property, you could do it within here, and then it will kind of talk about what your bookings would be at what price. So you can see here's our base price, and we've booked right at our base. We've booked a couple days below our base price of 210. So this is just kind of showing where we've booked, some nights higher, some nights lower. So you can also just set a base price, and that will be your flat rate price. So if you're not using any dynamic pricing, I would not do that. But if you set 210 and you don't use dynamic and you don't use smart pricing, all of your days will show at $210 on your calendar. So going through discounts, there are many different discounts that Airbnb offers. So weekly discount, you can kind of get a feel for what your competitors are doing for weekly discounts by doing something similar to what we previously did. So let me see if this will load up here. Pick your location here, and then go out a little bit so that there's some properties available, because if you are going too close, probably most weeks will be taken. So go for a week here. put a number of guests that fit into your property. So we'll go 6 for us. And then let's see here. You can start clicking into properties that you think look like yours. So I wouldn't want to do a waterfront because ours isn't waterfront, but something with, let's see, a hot tub. So this one's a fine one. I mean, it's a little bit different than ours, but that's okay. It's in a similar area with a similar number of guests. And then you can just kind of see if they offer a discount. Oh, I did 6 nights, not 7. So that would be why. There we go. Yeah, so I'll click into this one. And let's see here. So it looks like they're discounting you. This looks like less than 10% because 10% of $858 would be $85. So this one doesn't look like, they look like they maybe are giving like a 8% discount here. Now let's see here, or even maybe a less than that. I could do the math. So how you would do that math is, let me just pull up a calculator. So 71 divided by 858 is, yeah, it's an 8.25% discount. So I'm not sure how they found that out, but we usually stick to round numbers. I'll pick another one. So this one's a hot tub and a game room. Fits what we have. They have a lakefront, but for a discount, I'll at least look at it. So they have a much larger discount on this one. So this one looks like it's $563 on. So they have a 25% discount, you know. Typically will be in the range of 10 to 15% for the weekly discount. And that's just because we want to encourage people to stay a little bit longer than, you know, if they were going to stay 5 days, like if we offer that discount, it makes sense for them. It adds money to us. You have to make your monthly stay higher than your weekly stay. So any stay that is longer has to have a bigger discount. So if you had, you couldn't go above 10% for a 5-night discount if your week was 10%. So that kind of tells you, you always have to, the longer the stay, the bigger the discount. So you can't have like a 50% off weekly and then 10% off monthly. So keep that in mind when you're pricing it. So we discussed weekly, monthly. Depending on your strategy, you might want to discount enough where it competes on the high end of like monthly rates for midterm and those things if you're interested in getting more monthly stays. So it really just depends on your strategy. With this house, it's a vacation house, so we're not really interested in month-long stays as much because it's just not the avatar of what we're looking for. But on other properties, we might offer like a 30% discount or something along those lines. So add a discount for other stays. Here you can kind of get creative. You could offer like for 3-night stays, 5% off, you know, so that it encourages that Monday or that Thursday. So then you'd be able to do that. So you can kind of really just tailor and mess around with what works for your area. So different discounts for different lengths of stay, you know, 3-night, 4-night, 5-night, longer, 60-day. You can really just kind of tailor it to what works for you, what the property's intended use is, and we can help you if you have like a specific scenario that you're looking at. If you want us to look at it with you, we can do that. I'm just kind of going through overall so you can understand what to research. Early bird discount. So this is if you want to be booking further out. We keep our calendar closed to 90 days out. So we don't use this one often because of our dynamic pricing. But if you wanted to say that people get a 10% booking for booking 2 months out, you could do it that way. Or you can even add tailors. So like 3 months out, they get 20% off, right? So you're really encouraging adding further out. In dynamic pricing, you're actually able to at a premium further out. So like in Price Labs, you could have it be like a 20% raise the further out it is, to make sure you're really capturing, if someone really wants to book that far out, you're getting paid more. So you can do that as well, just not through Airbnb. Last minute discounts would be like, wow, there's 5 days left until this date. I really just want to get it booked. Let me take a 30% cut on that. And then I would be able to book all these days, and hopefully they just fill with somebody looking for like a last minute deal. So you can do that as well. Again, we do that in Price Labs. We'll have our price slowly taper down closer to the date, down to like a minimum set price, but you can set that in here as well. I talked about where to find cleaning fees in your comp. Once you have the property set up, I would definitely have your cleaner in line and have quotes, so you know actually how much you're going to pay now that you have finalized that you're actually going to be using the property. And so I would say it depends on, I guess, the area, the demand, and Airbnb itself, whether how much you want to do in a cleaning fee. Previous to Airbnb's most recent update, where they are showing total price, us and a lot of other people that we worked with would charge a higher cleaning fee than the actual cost we were being charged, and we would profit off of that because it was, guests were willing to pay it, and it was a part of the pricing, and it just made sense. Airbnb is a little bit more sensitive to cleaning fees now, so that's why we'll add to a management fee instead of doing like a $205 cleaning fee, and it just kind of divides it out. This is still more than what we're charging for getting charged. We were getting charged $125 for cleaning, and now it's going up to $150. So it is still above that. But I would say if you're not getting bookings, you can try and lower it and increase your pricing or increase your cleaning fee. You can mess around with those two things and see if it gets you more bookings or higher up on Airbnb's algorithm. Pet fees, we don't allow pets. We've made some exceptions. We typically will charge like a pet fee. It depends on how long the stay is, but somewhere in the neighborhood of like $100 if it's more than 2 days, and then $50 if it's less. Somewhere in there. It'll depend on the pet. We're very specific, and we don't typically allow pets. We don't do linen fees, resort fees, community fees. These would be like very specific situations where, like, if you got charged and you were at a resort or something like that, so you could pass those on to the guest. Management fee, we do charge that, not on all of our properties, but mainly it's just a way to balance out our cleaning fee. We have an extra guest fee, which is if there's more than the traditional number of guests that need to stay there. So if there's more than 6, we charge $30 per person per night. So if they're going to be putting in 8 guests, that automatically gets calculated into the pricing. And then you can set a weekend price. So with the weekend price, if you have a base price of like I think ours said $210 here. Let's see, 210, we can set a weekend nightly price, and that'll always be 220. So if you're not using dynamic pricing, you can make that change there. We do not edit our taxes. We just let Airbnb collect the ones that are required. So we don't do anything with that. Trip length. Airbnb does some weird things where they will edit this. But typically what I do is we kind of tailor it to the property and the goal. So Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, which are harder nights to book, we'll allow 2 nights, because really Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that's a pretty good booking for us because it doesn't impact the next weekend. The weekends are easy to book. So those days we are trying to just fill 2 nights. Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, we try to do 3 because that's going to take up a major night of the weekend. So that's kind of our strategy. You could do further out in Price Labs. You can say, more than 30 days out, we require a 5-night booking or that. So you can try to book longer stays further out. But just be aware as it gets closer, if you didn't book those, I would definitely lower it because you're going to get more volume of people. Because if you only allow 5-night stays and somebody's in here searching for a 3-night, you don't even show up. So something to be aware of. The goal is longer stays just because it fills occupancy, but not always. It's not necessary. Our average stay is about 3.5 nights right now. So it's about 6 to 7 guests a month. We have advance notice is our calendar stays open. So if today was available tonight, you could book it until 9 a.m. this morning. That's really your preference on like how fast you feel like your cleaners will respond. If they are cleaning the day that the other guest checks out, so it's just available, then you can make it, available all the way till noon. So it's a relationship of how ready your property is for stay and how long you want it to be blocked out. Preparation time would be like if your cleaner needs a whole day in between bookings. So it blocks the day after checkout. So that would be what preparation time is. We do not use that. We book back to back all of the time. 3 months in advance is how long we keep our window open. We've heard of people keeping their window open much longer and they will just book all the way out to like Christmas and whatnot. We like to keep ours short because we do a lot of market analysis and our revenue managers are watching. So we like to capture things and not, book too far out where maybe something changes or whatnot. So we keep our calendar short. I would suggest doing that with arbitrage too, just because we've gone over this, but you really don't want to cancel bookings. It really hurts your ratings. So if you ended up having to pull out of a property for whatever reason, maybe it's a market shift or like permitting issues, and then you have to cancel 30 listings, like you're never really going to get out of that, right? So we like to keep it short, 90 days. That way we always have the ability to be flexible after that. Restricted check-in days, restricted check-out days. Most of our properties don't have this. One of ours, our cleaner doesn't clean on Sundays. So I don't let people check in on Sundays if there's a check-in before or check-out because our cleaner does not clean that day. So I just turn off Sunday check-ins. It will impact you obviously because if someone is looking to check in on a Sunday, you don't show up, but it's just something we have to do for our cleaner. This is just let me see. I'll just have to resync that. But this is where you sync calendars. So, this is our VRBO calendar. So you can just go in, I can just show actually. So how you import and export calendars. So if you were going to move your calendar to VRBO, like you wanted the calendars to sync, you'd click export your calendar, you'd copy this, and then you'd go to VRBO and you'd hit import calendar and you'd paste this link. So I will go now, you'll go to import calendar, and this would be where you'd paste the VRBO link and you do Airbnb, right? So then if the calendar is blocked out on VRBO, it'll say because of Airbnb and vice versa. So you just hit import calendar, and that is very important to do. Double bookings are awful. Like you never would want a guest to show up when there's already another guest there. So I would definitely recommend VRBO, Airbnb, if you have a direct booking site, anything like that, always sync your calendars and then it'll just automatically be on there. You get a booking on VRBO, Airbnb is safe. So definitely make sure your calendars are synced. And you can link Airbnb calendars. So like if you have a duplex or a house, like a house with 2 different apartments, you could list one, list the other as 2 listings, and then you could combine them. And this is where you would link the calendars so that if the whole house is booked, obviously you couldn't book one side or the other side. So this is where you would do that. And so you just go here and you'd hit edit and you would create linked calendars here. So you select the other listing and then hit next and just follow the instructions. So that's where you would do that. And then I believe I am done with this page. Yeah. So now we'll go through policies and rules. Cancellation policy. We sometimes change ours. Usually it is we like to use the new ones because Airbnb likes you to test their new things. Ven has talked about that. But I would not suggest doing flexible or non-refundable just because it's not really necessary. It doesn't help you. Many people use strict. We use firm or non-refundable. And what non-refundable is basically means is they have the option for a 10% discount to make their booking 100% non-refundable. So it gives them the opportunity to save 10%. However, no matter what, and we've had this experience, they're not getting their money back for canceling. So we like to use that. It just gives an extra option for us. And I mean, if it's non-refundable, it's non-refundable. It's safe money for us. So yeah, I think anything from moderate non-refundable to strict and non-refundable, I would look at those. I would not suggest doing flexible. Long-term stays, we're strict with those on this property because we don't really want long-term stays. But I would say that being firm for the most part, if you actually do want long-term stays on the property is good. And we have a lot of those on these. So that just means that they get a full refund up to 30 days before check-in. After that, the first 30 days of the stay are non-refundable. So if you get like a 6 or 9 month stay, then only the first 30 days of that stay are non-refundable within the 30 days before. So it gives you at least a month's worth of protection. But anything after the first 30 days would be refundable. And then that adjusts as they stay. So the next 30 days are non-refundable as they stay. Instant booking. Let's see, where'd you go? Instant booking, we keep it on. They have to have a good track record. So what that means is you can just click here and that'll show you, but a good track record is completed a stay without an incident or bad review. So they can have no review as long as they've had stays and still book. So keep that in mind, that so they could have stayed 10 times, never been reviewed, and instant book. So it doesn't protect you from non-reviewed people. It only protects you from people that have any bad reviews. So we keep that on. Pre-booking message, this would just be like, we've used that on some of our properties, especially the ones we co-host on. It'll say, please let us know what you're doing for your stay or something along those lines. What brings you to the Poconos? And it just makes it so they have to answer that. So you already know that information when they are instant booking. That way, because otherwise you might just literally get instant book with no message from them and then you've never talked to them before. So we might want to actually turn this on for this one. But so those are the settings. Airbnb also needs them to have verified their payment and also have an ID on file. So those are Airbnb requirements for instant booking. House rules, we don't really allow pets. We can't refuse service animals. And there are specific questions that you can ask for service animals, but you cannot ask for proof. So just be aware of that. And they do not have to give you notice of a service animal. So be very sensitive to that because you don't want to be reported for something like that. We do not allow events at this house. Only one of our properties has events welcome. Depending on your property, you might want to, but just be aware of like what you do and don't allow. We don't allow smoking. We have a lot of people that smoke outside, depending on the property. Commercial photography and filming, we get requests for this and we are open to it, but we leave it as against the rules. So all of these, if somebody brought them to us, we'd consider it case by case, but we leave the rule as the rule and then accept exceptions as they come. We make people sign filming waivers and put us on their insurance if they're going to film at the property, and we can provide what that looks like to you as if you ever come across that. Quiet hours, you can look these up for your area. You can put standard ones as well, like when you want them to be respectful of your neighbors. Ben already went over when we do check-in and check-out and the number of guests. Additional rules, that'll vary based on our properties, but I always include something along the lines of we charge $1,000 fee for any unauthorized event or party to protect our home and the stays of our future guests. And if we have not agreed to a late checkout and you are more than 15 minutes late, we charge a $50 fee due to our cleaners needing to stay on their schedule. So both of those just preemptively allow us to charge the guest if those situations happen. On other properties, we have other rules I can quickly go through. Let's see here. policies and rules. Additional rules, because this one allows events, it has a lot more specific rules about things that can happen with parties, as well as just being careful for liability reasons. So if you want to see any of these additional rules, I can send them to you. We do require profile pictures for our guests just to make sure that they are committed to following Airbnb rules, and also just so that they're participating in an active way in staying at the property. We don't want someone who's just like, doesn't care if they get a bad review, doesn't care if, you know, they break all our rules and they're just like a one-time stay. You can see the local laws for the area, and you can also lastly see the primary use of the listing. So if it's your property that you're renting out a room, then it's primarily yours. And you keep personal belongings in it, but all of ours are set up for guests. So I believe that goes through all the pricing and policies and rules. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.